So our goal is to graph linear equations. And we're going to be doing this for a while. Today we're going to spend our time learning how to find X and Y intercepts. And we're going to use those to graph a line. So this is graphing linear equations. Let me get a pen that works. So we're going to be graphing linear equations for a while. And one of the easiest ways to do this is by finding the X and Y intercepts. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to start off with the fact that the equations we're going to look at are in what's called standard form. And standard form is when the equation is written like this. AX plus BY equals C. I'm going to really zoom in so we can see it better. A times X plus B times Y equals C. I know it's a bunch of letters, but I want you to understand that the A, B, and C represent integers. So they could be positive or negative whole numbers, okay? And if you have an equation written this way, it's going to be super easy to find the X-intercepts and the Y-intercepts. So let's talk about the X-intercept first. So the X-intercept of a graph is when the X-coordinate of the point crosses the X-axis. So the graph crosses the X-axis. I'm going to highlight that. So the graph crosses the X-axis. So if we're looking at this little model over here, you see this point here where this line crossed the X-axis? That's the X-intercept. And if you notice, if we look at the coordinates, the Y part of the coordinate is 0. That's the part that we're going to take advantage of. Whenever a line crosses the X-intercept, the Y part of that ordered pair is 0. And we like zeros in math. You'll see why. Okay? So X-intercept is where a graph crosses the X-axis and the Y part is always 0. That's important to remember. Let's talk about the Y-intercept. So the Y-intercept is where the graph crosses the Y-axis. And we have it right here. And if you notice, that's where X equals 0. Okay, so it's crossing the Y-axis. The coordinate for X is always going to be 0 there. And we like zeros in math. Okay, so I'm going to show you the process to figure out if you have an equation written in the standard form, how to find where the graph of that line crosses the X-axis and the Y-axis. And it's just going to be playing around with zeros and then solving a very simple equation, okay? So let's begin. This example they gave us is all worked out. So there's nothing we need to write here. We'll add a few things to help us understand it. But let's say we have the equation 3x plus 2y equals 6. 3x plus 2y equals 6. We want to graph this equation. Let me highlight this. We want to graph that equation. Well, we're going to find the X-intercept and the Y-intercept. We're going to start off with the X-intercept. Okay? We're going to find out where this particular equation, if we graph it, crosses the X-axis. And here's how you start. You start with the fact that y equals 0. So you see they start off with that, y equals 0. And then you take the equation, so They wrote down the equation. We won't need to rewrite it, but they did. But that's good because we want to see where all this is coming from. And then they rewrite the equation, but they replace y with 0. So do you see instead of 2y, they put 2 times 0? They wrote that. Now, what's the advantage of doing 2 times 0? What's good about that? What do you get when you multiply 2 times 0? 0. It zeroes out. It cancels. In the next step, look what happens. You get 3x plus 0, but you don't need that. It goes away. The only thing that's left, basically, in that equation after that is 3x. So you get the equation 3x equals 6. And we can solve that. That's just divide by 3 on both sides. So if you have the equation 3x equals 6, remember how we solved that? Divide by 3 on both sides? And you just have to figure out what 6 divided by 3 is. 2. You end up with this answer. So now you know the ordered pair, the xy ordered pair for the x-intercept. The x number is 2. And what's the y value? What number should I put in here? Well, what did we start off with? Y equals 0. We have the ordered pair 2, 0. And if we look at the graph, 2 zeros where they put that point. And so that's the x-intercept. That's the x-intercept right there. Okay? And there's going to be the y-intercept. Let's figure out how they got that. Okay? All right. You guys ready? Let's go over how they figured that out. By the way, if you're wondering, oh my God, am I going to write all of that? Not really. I'm going to show you a few shortcuts along the way. I mean, it's good to have because this is our notes and you want to understand the whole background, but I'll show you a few tricks. Okay, let's figure out the y-intercept, guys. So for the y-intercept, which number becomes 0? Let's go. Y-intercept, which number becomes 0? It tells you right there, right? X. And that's what they say. Okay, for the y-intercept, x has to be 0. So you write your equation, or not, just we already have it there. But go to that equation, and instead of 3 times x, make it 3 times 0. Because 3 times 0 is just 0, and zeros cancel out. They go away. So instead of all that, you just have 2y equals 6. Right? And if I have the equation 2y equals 6, what do I have to do to solve that? How do I find out what y is in this case? Divide by 2. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we get y is 3. We got our ordered pair. We have that y is 3. And what's the x value? 0. 0, 3. And there it is. This is the y-intercept. So we basically figured out where that particular line crosses on the x-axis and on the y-axis. You only need 2 points on the line to graph the line. So there they are. From there, you can draw in the whole line, and basically the line represents all the possible solutions, all the possible xy numbers that would make that equation a true statement. But we didn't have to figure them all out, just 2 of them, the easiest ones. Okay? Any questions? Okay, so I'll give you a minute to catch up, and then we're going to look at the other side of this page so that we can practice a little. Okay? You guys ready? Okay. Olivia, close the Chromebook. Okay. So close up completely. Here we go. So we're going to take this first equation, 3x plus 5y equals negative 15. And we're going to figure out the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So the way I usually do this is I make a t-table, just a 2-column table. And on the left side, we're going to find the x-intercept, so I'll write that x-int. On the right side, we're going to find the y-intercept. So that's a y-intercept. So let's start with the x-intercept, okay? For the x-intercept, which number becomes 0? Y. Just remember that. X-intercept, y is 0. Y-intercept, x is 0. So I'm just going to write those in to begin with. Y is 0 on this side. X is 0 on that side. Because that's our starting point. Okay? So now what I'm going to do with that fact is I'm going to rewrite this equation. But instead of 5 times y, guess what it's going to be? 5 times 0. Here we go. This becomes 3x plus 5 times 0 equals negative 15. Okay? So that's my first part of the equation. And we love zeros because 5 times 0 is just 0. It goes away. So my new equation is 3x equals negative 15. Okay? So I want to solve that. What should I do? Divide by 3 to cancel this. Now all I have to remember or know is what's negative 15 divided by 0? Divided by 3, rather. Negative 5. Okay. So I use the fact that y is 0 to learn the new fact that x is negative 5. So this is my ordered pair. Negative 5, comma 0. Now I just have to find it on the graph and put a point there. Okay? So it's here on the x-axis at negative 5, right there. So here at negative 5 on the x-axis, that's where the line has to cross. Okay? Let's figure out where it crosses on the y-axis. So for that, we're going to make x equal to 0. Okay? So take that equation again, but instead of 3 times x, make it 3 times 0. So 3 times 0 plus 5y equals negative 15. Okay? And 3 times 0 goes away. I have plus 5y, so I'll make it positive 5y equals negative 15. Okay? And I want to solve that, so divide out the 5. And now I'm just going to have y all by its lonesome. And it's going to equal negative 15 divided by 5, or just negative 3. Okay? So now that gives me my new ordered pair. I know that x is 0, and y is negative 3. So let's write down those numbers. X is 0, and y is negative 3. That's the coordinate I want to graph here. Okay. So let's find it. So I want negative 3, 0, negative 3. So this is all positive. I want to go down. There's 0, negative 3. Right here. Okay. So the line has to cross. It crosses in an infinite number of places, but those are 2 of them that are easy to find. So I'm going to graph it like that. So now any other point you can find that's along there would be a solution as well. Okay. Any questions? All right, so we'll practice this a little more because, you know, it gets a little tricky with the decimals. I'm sorry, not the decimals, the negatives. So let's get to it. Let's do the next one. Let's work with 3x minus 2y equals negative 12. We're going to make a t-table here. Let's find the x-intercept, y-intercept. And we start off with the same fact. For x-intercept, y is 0. For y-intercept, x is 0. Okay? So if y equals 0, we're going to rewrite this as 3x minus 2 times 0 equals negative 12. And that means negative 2 times 0 goes away. In front of it, I don't have a negative, so this is just 3x equals negative 12. We'll solve that equation by dividing by 3. And that's going to give us x equals negative 12 divided by 3. What's that going to be? It's a negative divided by a positive. Negative 4. So we started off with this fact, which led us to the fact that x is negative 4, so we have our ordered pair. What's the xy ordered pair for that? And 0. Let's find it. So here's 0, 0, negative 4, 0 is right here. Boom. Okay. So now we're going to find the other one. So for this one, we're going to replace x with 0. So this is going to be 3 times 0 minus 2y equals negative 12. Okay. And 3 times 0 cancels out. It goes away. What do I have left? Yeah. Negative 2y equals negative 12. That minus or it's negative stays with the y. So now divide by negative 2. To solve this. That's going to give me y equals positive 6. So over here, we used x equals 0 to figure out y is positive 6. And we end up with the ordered pair 0, 6. Let's graph that one. Let's find 0, 6. So this time it's going to be up here at the top where 6 is. That's 0, 6. So now those are 2 points on the line, so I'm going to graph it. So this line has to cross there. Okay. All right. Let's do a few more. Okay, you guys ready? Let's do this next one. Negative 4x minus 3y equals negative 12. So we'll go a little faster because I think we're getting to understand the process here. X-intercept, Y-intercept. Okay. Now, let's see if you can catch on, because this will be a shortcut for us. So, for the x-intercept, we know y is 0, right? And for the y-intercept, x is 0. Okay, if that's the fact, then when y is 0, would you agree that this goes away? The y part? So my equation becomes negative 4x equals negative 12. Well, if you know that, you don't have to go through this extra step anymore. Just write that, okay? So I'm going to say, okay, the y part goes away completely. I get negative 4x equals negative 12. That's all I get. Now I could just solve that. Okay? Saves us a step. So I get x equals negative 12 divided by negative 4. That's going to be positive 3. So my ordered pair is 3, 0. So basically this led to this, which gives me that ordered pair. Okay, so let me graph it. 3, 0 is right here. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So let's see. If I know the fact that I have that now, I'm going to move on to this part for the y-intercept. X is 0, right, guys? X is 0. What's my new equation? Help me out over here, guys. Negative 3y equals negative 12. Okay. Got that. Didn't need to go through that extra step. I want everyone, let's solve it. Divide by negative 3. Okay. And that would give me y equals positive 4. So this fact led to this fact, which is going to give me the ordered pair 0, 4. Okay. And let's find out where that point is. So here's 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, up here. It's going to go downhill like this. Okay. Remember the line should go all the way across, and you should put arrows to indicate that it goes on forever. Okay? All right. So I want you to try this one. Okay? And let's see here. I'm going to let you do this one on your own. I'll get you started. I'm going to say that y equals 0 here, x equals 0 here. And I want you to find the X-intercept and the Y-intercept for this particular one. Okay. Oh, be careful when you're graphing it. We're counting by 2, so this is 2, 4, 6, 8. Same thing here. It's counting by 2s. So work this one out. Figure out the X-intercept and the Y-intercept. Okay, do the same process we just did. And if you're doing things correctly, finding the Y-intercept part is going to be super easy. Okay. So let's see how we do. Hopefully you got something like this. So, okay, y is 0, so this goes away. You get negative 2x equals 8. I divide by negative 2. That means x has to be negative 4. Negative 4 is 0 is the first point. And it's right there, because we're counting by 2s. The y-intercept's real easy because x is 0. That means the negative 2 times x goes away. And you're just left with y equals 8. And that's what you're looking for, is y. So that means the ordered pair is 0, 8. And 0, 8's right there. And this is the line. Okay? So this is what we're going to be doing today, is graphing lines on IXL. All right? Any questions? All right. So now you can open up the Chromebooks and go to IXL, please. I want you working on this. And we're going to practice now.